Mafia, are you ready?
He said, "Are you ready?"
This is Brotherly Love Wrestling Podcast, your first stop for everything professional wrestling. So sit back and enjoy wrestling talk at its finest with your hosts, Larry Hall and Joe Corrado.
Welcome, everybody, to Brotherly Love Wrestling, the Essential Series. And the subject today is hardcore matches, the essential hardcore matches of all time, the top 5.
So does the actual noise get you, or is it if I say fart noise, will that get you more?
No, it's the actual noise. For
So
those
the actual noise will get you
for
more
those
if
who cannot see, Joe has a balloon, and I'm sure that balloon noise will be making an appearance plenty of times in this show.
Only for your picks. Fart noise.
So, if I remember correctly, I have 3. You have 2 for this one.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
But I want to elaborate more on the hardcore matches. I'm not, when I wanted to do this, I'm not saying that the stipulation was just hardcore. I'm just saying anything that involved like weapons, even if it was supposed to or not, like just the matches that got the most hardcore, like the greatest matches that were also hardcore matches, just shit like that. Like it doesn't have to be stipulation of like, oh, it's a hardcore match. Like, unfortunately for the rest of the wrestling world, that ECW exists. Like that has existed, so it's kind of a lot of their matches like are the birthplace of hardcore, the best matches.
Well, and I think the word hardcore to wrestling fans has gotten,
Yeah, it can be interpreted different.
Yeah, because I think it's gotten shit on because the WWE kind of ruined hardcore. You know what I mean? Hardcore, when you thought hardcore
PG.
Exactly. So I think that kind of ruined it. So when wrestling fans hear hardcore match, you immediately roll your eyes. You don't think of ECW, at least for me. This might just be me, but it has been overshadowed by the WWE's version of hardcore, that where the meaning to me has kind of been lost. Where deathmatch is where it's kind of taken over in my head as far as the brutal, violent matches, because hardcore just doesn't sound right. And one more, hold on, before I'm
not doing anything. Go ahead.
Perfect example was that one weekend we went to 2 different wrestling events. One was Titan Championship Wrestling and one was VXS. And Titan had a hardcore match. And then the next night, VXS had a lot of death matches and violent matches where
involved a stop sign and a ladder.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. It feels like
VXS was a barbed wire light tube rope ring against Tremont and AJ Gray.
Yeah.
Where that was literally all spots where how I'm going to hit you with this light tube, and then I'm going to take the light tube hit, and then I'm going to hit you with this. So it's just basically back and forth until that person passed out. And there was scaffolding.
Yes. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, hardcore has gotten kind of watered down a little bit.
Some of those deathmatch matches are good, but I'm talking about matches that were not just great matches, but great matches that just so happened to be on an extreme level.
Okay, I got
and
you.
There was a lot of them that were in WWE as well in the 90s, like mid 90s, into that Attitude Era and whatnot, and then even leaving the Attitude Era into the Ruthless Aggression Era.
Yeah,
but do some of those stack up to some of the best that ECW had to offer? I guess we'll put the list together and we'll have to find out.
All right,
but so having 2, I will say this: having 2 does fuck me once again. Like always, now I am, because I probably had 4 or 5 that I really wanted to get in there, and I don't have faith in you once again to get any of them in there. Maybe one. You might have one.
Okay.
So by all means, start it off.
See, my problem with this, or the hard time I had picking with this, is because we've done Mick Foley as our essential series, and Mick Foley has had and probably is going to show up in, I don't know, at least.
Well, at least this one, you would think.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Enough where I'm trying to be different. I'm trying to put different hardcore matches on here and not keep saying the same matches.
It doesn't have to be a hardcore match either. It could be a match that
I know.
Remember.
I know.
All right. I just want to make sure that you're aware of this, so you can get the broader spectrum and how difficult this actually was to put together.
And that's what I do. All right, so I'm going to pull this one out, and it's
without further ado.
It's one of my favorite hardcore, anything goes, whatever you want to say, kind of stipulation.
Street fight?
No. Well, sort of. Undertaker, Mankind in the Boiler Room Brawl.
Oh, really?
Is one of the most hardcore, action-packed. Like, I cannot believe that. Just
Boiler Room Brawl. My God.
I have to like
poll. I will say this: I'm very happy and very pleasantly surprised with this poll. I hadn't even thought of the Boiler Room Brawl. That was such a fun match.
Yes, and a great ending too. By the way, because you have Paul Bearer turning on the Undertaker at the end of that match. He's supposed to present the urn, and
hold on.
Am I getting over? Thank you.
I'm going to give you that one.
Yeah,
I'm going to give you that one. I didn't see that one happening. That is a very good match, and it does fit the stipulation of hardcore. I just thought you were going to go, and you still might, but I thought you were going to go a completely different route.
Okay.
All right. So now, damn it.
Did I screw you over putting that one on?
No. I only get 2 picks, so I have to make sure that the 2 that I want the most to get on there.
Okay.
And I'm going to take it. I'm taking it away from WWE with my picks.
Good.
I'm going ECW.
Okay.
At least for my first one. And I have to see what you do too, or for your second pick to go. But I don't know which one. Oh, it's tough because I'm going back.
This is riveting for a listener to just listen to you.
You can feel free.
I
feel like I'm like Peter Griffin when I slam my knee.
With his knee, yes, that's exactly what you sound like.
Just continuously going back and forth. That's not a bad thing. We should play that as a clip and as background noise for any time that we or me, anytime that I need to stall.
Yeah, as you're still doing.
Yes, I am. But I'm asking you for post editing. Anytime that we hit a lull, can we get the Jeopardy music in?
Jesus Christ! Do you realize the kind of editing that I'm going to have to do? I have to listen, actually listen to the whole show at that point to make sure where the lulls I can put the fucking Jeopardy music in. No, thank you. I'm
mark
okay.
It now. What are we in? Like the 3 minute? There, get some Jeopardy music there.
I'm good. Stop stalling. Make your goddamn pick.
All right, I'm going ECW, Living Dangerously. And this will be maybe the first and only time that these 2 even make a list like this in our essential.
I'm intrigued.
Taz and Bam Bam Bigelow.
I'm so glad you put that on there.
And you know exactly the moment, and you know exactly the ending of that match. I mean, the match was rough, not rough as in a bad match, but the match was like a tough match. And anytime these 2 got in the ring together, it was a tough match. They beat the living hell out of each other, and they did for this. And then that fucking infamous spot at the end of the match when Taz is choking out Bam Bam, and he fucking jumps through the ring and then pulls his dead body out of the ring and pins him. Like, it's not necessary. It's an ECW match, so it's extreme. Like, anything can happen. And it may not be the most brutal and violent match there, but nonetheless, very popular for me. That match, when I think of some of the matches I look back on, that moment always, like, that match sticks out to me. I love Taz and I love Bam Bam too as a kid, because I was probably in my early teens, or before I even got to my teens, 98.
Yeah,
I was 12. I was 12.
Yeah.
So right before I hit my teens. So that shit was just crazy. That was what was crazy about growing up, about having that as the third option.
Don't forget, that wasn't the main event.
No,
They had more of the card to go, and they had fucking caution tape around it. Like, that's the beauty of it, is because they didn't want people to realize that they were doing it. They did it mid, so people wouldn't see them move. You know what I mean? Right after the intermission, I mean, to see, do they even move the wood? And then they got to wrestle the whole time afterwards. Like, that's so funny that they were able to pull that off and do it that way.
Dude, it's the shit that they were doing was just like, it was different. It was absolutely fucking insane. Everything that ECW did, everything that they were able to, in that short burst of energy is what I'll call it. And the short-lived promotion that it was, I mean, it fucking started out crazy and it burned out just as fucking crazy. Like, ECW is amazing. Like, anybody who's a wrestling fan that wasn't around or watching wrestling during that era, and to just go back and watch the absolute madness that ECW was, because it's right at your fingertips now. You can watch every show and pay-per-view that they had. It's like, and I'll go back and I'll watch it just because I was younger. Like, I never got like I got like the holy shit moments and whatnot, but you get to really appreciate it until you're older. Just like some of the shit we go back and watch now, like, we never really appreciated that. Now that we're actually older and not just living in the moment and like not knowing that, like, oh, it's real, but it's scripted.
Yeah. But they make it look as real as possible.
No, I'm still on the side that's real. ECW it was real. I'll hop on that. I'll die on that hill.
All right. So my second pick, I wanted to try and touch on as many different styles of hardcore because of the WWE. I wanted to move around a little bit. I just wanted to stick with WWE. So this next pick is going to be one of the greatest matches in the history of the company. Happens to be one of the most brutal matches. And
you've piqued my interest.
I'm going with AEW Cody Rhodes versus Dustin Rhodes.
Really?
At Double or Nothing.
Wow. I didn't think any recent match was ever going to make one of these essential lists.
I felt like the
NXT's whole
AEW has done enough lights out unsanctioned matches and stuff like that to where I feel like they should have a contributor on this list.
They've earned a spot in the Essential Series?
I think that is one of the greatest matches that AEW will ever put on, ever.
That wasn't even AEW. That was before they were AEW, wasn't it?
No, that was AEW. That was Double or Nothing.
So that was their second show because they did All In and then Double or Nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was Double or Nothing in 19.
What did Cody do for his first All In?
Aldis for the title.
Oh, that's right. Oh my God, that match was insane.
That was a great match.
Holy shit.
But yeah, so I think this, like I said, is one of the greatest AEW matches of all time, but it's brutal, it's bloody, it's personal.
Had the story behind it.
Exactly, and that obviously helps as well. But yeah, so I wanted AEW to have a little bit of something on the list. So
wow, AEW brings a shine in a fucking Essential Series.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I did not see that happening. Shit.
You're welcome.
You have the last pick. What are you going to use for your last pick?
I honestly have no idea yet.
I don't know what you're going to use either, because I think I have almost a 99.9% guarantee that you're going WWE with your last pick. Yeah. But can I justifiably let you leave out any other WWE matches that should make the list? Oh,
I could pick literally anything at this point. I couldn't even tell you where I'm going because I honestly don't even know yet. Well, I'm glad I made that pick and I'm able to have a little bit of time while you have to burn time.
I know, because that's tough. Because there are a couple that should make it. That probably should make it from that era.
Dude, there's 1,000 matches that we can put in these last two spots that should make it. Let's be honest.
That's true. Oh my God. Yeah, but there's some that are a little bit more iconic than others.
I agree.
Fuck. This is a tough one. And right now you're just sitting pretty researching what you should put in. So you were hell bent on getting Cody and fucking Dustin in there, weren't you?
Yeah, I was back and forth between that and the first Thunder Rosa and
Britt Baker
and Britt match. That made such an impact on me because I've never seen two women beat the shit out of each other.
You think their first one was better than the last one?
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah. The cage match was very, very good. Don't get me wrong, but I think that first match was damn near perfect. I thought it was great because you had someone go over, but also someone got over too. Everyone looked great coming out of that.
Out of the first one.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that one kind of made Britt, huh?
That's what I'm saying.
Interesting. I still think that women's division has needed some serious.
Don't get me wrong. It absolutely is.
I don't think talent wise it needs help. I just think it needs more exposure at this point. Like, you can't get fully invested in anybody because they don't have enough exposure. And their problem is that they don't have the room to expose. And that goes for 90% of their roster.
You need another television show, and Ring of Honor, could it be that television show for that?
Yeah, but I don't think that still helps the women.
Why?
I think they're going to end up bringing more people in.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a lot. It's a lot for them to do.
Male talent in that company.
Excuse me.
I'm looking forward to these contract expirations and seeing who gets let go and whatnot. Not looking forward to it. I'm just I'm curious to see how they're going to be able to keep so many people
on. Well, I don't think they are. I think, like you said, I agree. I think that a lot of those contracts that are coming up, they're not going to be picked back up.
Here's the thing. What if you think Archer gets re-signed if his contract expires?
I think he re-signed. Yeah, I think they'll want to re-sign.
Well, yeah, I think he would re-sign, but do you think they re-sign him?
I do, yes.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's... Maybe, I don't know, man. It's so hard because I'd say he's essential, but I believe he's essential to a roster.
Period.
To be used as a big man, exactly. To be a great big man for a roster, whoever will have him. But if they don't think that, obviously they're not the kind of big man federation. It's going to hurt him.
They have the number of employees right now that would dictate that they're a big time federation.
No, I'm saying the big guy, like the WWE, how they're always all big guys. Like in AEW, it's more about the smaller, better wrestlers, more technical wrestlers than the WWE is.
I wanted to go over something about AEW when we're all said and done.
Okay.
This episode. Mm-hmm. So we'll put a bookmark in this one. We'll come back to it.
Okay. Because I hoped all that stalling helped.
No, I had it before I asked the question.
Okay.
But now I didn't want to stop conversation.
I got you.
All right, I'm going back ECW. I'm going with probably one of the best rivalries and string of matches that two people could have had, but this one in particular for what we're doing, and that's Jerry Lynn and Rob Van Dam, Hardcore Heaven. So if I remember correctly, they've had three that I can remember but I don't know how many other matches they've had. But every time that those two are in the ring together, it was absolutely insane. So I wanted to make sure that they got on the list, and that, I mean, to justifiably, we could have done a best of ECW, and we still could do an essential ECW list. But for what we're doing right now, I wanted to make sure that this match got on there. I mean, with these guys, it was different. It was a different time. Like, these guys were like super athletic and using tables and chairs like differently. Like, along with Sabu, Sabu was a fucking madman. But these guys were like technically sound wrestlers and like innovative wrestlers that just so happened to be in ECW at the time and have at their disposal being able to do anything they wanted.
So,
and then you look at Van Dam was able to transition and be just as big of a star. Like, he's WWE. He's like one of those only ones that got out of ECW and became an even bigger star than he was when he was there. Like, there was a lot of people that just fell off. You got to think, like, who were the ones that made it out? The Dudleys, Rob Van Dam, Dreamer for a little bit, but I wouldn't even put Dreamer up there in that echelon of, I mean, Van Dam was a world champion. Dudleys were multiple time tag team champions.
One of the greatest tag teams of all time, period.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, who else made it out of ECW? Jericho, Guerrero.
But they're always, WCW guys.
They jumped over. I mean, if you really want to say something, Austin. But those guys that were pegged as like just the hardcore guys. Like, Jerry Lynn RVD is a really good pick. And innovative too. It's different.
Yes.
It's what we were going for, because there was several that I wanted to put on here that had already been said. And that's what made it tough. But I was thinking more and more, I'm like, you know what? I didn't even think about ECW's fucking library yet. So I was like, you know what? I'll definitely be able to pull at least two. And there's one that I'm sure you're not going to say, that I'm thinking you're not going to say, that could easily be put on this list.
In an ECW match?
No, but they're ECW legends, just so happen to not be in ECW.
Okay. And no, probably not then. Actually, definitely not then.
It's one of the most, like, one of the most infamous, like, rivalries and hardcore style matches of all time.
All right, so maybe no, I don't think it can be. So the one I'm going to end with, like you said, I'm probably going to go WWE.
I knew you were.
And I kind of have to for this last one, because I feel like we stayed away from the obvious for the most part in this list. We were trying to load this with more variety and different style of hardcore than anything.
You're going to go with an obvious one.
So now I'm going to go obvious one, because I feel like it has to be on there if we're talking hardcore and we're talking the open stipulation. Going with SummerSlam 2000, the first ever TLC match, tables, ladders, chairs. If we're doing hardcore, that's where, I mean, hardcore for the WWE was. It was tables, ladders, and chairs. So I think that has to be on there. Dudley's, Edge and Christian, Hardy's. It's just, yeah.
And I know that's made at least one list.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about two, but it's at least made one. I mean, we've talked about this ad nauseum with those three, and anytime that they were in a match together, like, you knew what you were getting.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of those matches that you couldn't wait for. It was one of those matches that was announced and you just couldn't wait for it. Like, it legitimately, it got you excited. Like, after that first one, like, anytime that they were put together, you knew they were going to go all out. You knew that they were going to try and steal the show. And that's exactly what they wanted to do. They tried to steal the show every time. They tried to do something that no one else was doing on the card. And they tried to steal the show.
And majority of the time they did.
Yeah. I mean, because it was different. It was different. It wasn't your big time feud matchups for the title, for the main title, but the excitement level for those matches was through the roof. And the crowds there were always fucking crazy.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, that's that era's crowd though. That's like this. I mean, it's like the AEW crowd now. The AEW crowd, they're crazy. They're into everything. They're singing every song. They're for them like that is now. I don't want to say it's exactly like it. I don't think it's exactly like it. I think it's close to the level of an Attitude Era crowd, whether it's WCW or WWE, no matter what.
But I feel like the difference is that the AEW crowd will cheer for literally anything. And when it was WWF and they were doing it, like they gave you the reason to cheer. Like I'll give you the AEW crowd like gets big moments and they know when to cheer, but I feel like they're cheering for just everything. Like I don't think they're there to not cheer. You know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
I just think that the moments for cheering were much bigger for the WWF.
Well,
I find it hard to do any sort of comparison from today to when we were growing up because it's a biased opinion. And in our sense, like it's not the same. And when we were cheering back then, it was better. It was just better. There was bigger names and it was more talked about and it was, more people watching. And
there was quadruple people watching.
If the roles were reversed and we were able to have the access to all the wrestling fans like we do today, back then, like it would be absolutely insanity. Like, don't get me wrong, there would still be fucking assholes and whatnot, but we handled things differently back then, so I don't think it would have been as depressing as it is today. Like everything was kind of handled differently.
And not only that, you weren't as in the know as fast as you are today. Like today, again, look, how many times or how many weeks prior to, and we still don't know this, but it's being reported that Cody Rhodes has re-signed with WWE. Like, how quickly and how much did we know about this immediately? Cody Rhodes doesn't work for AEW anymore. He's talking with WWE. He's signing a contract. Like that would never ever happen.
We'll go with the obvious. Scott Hall's contract expired. He didn't re-sign. WWE was giving him, or WCW was giving him a shitload more money. So he showed up there and they ran an angle with it. You would never be able to do that today. You would never be able to run that angle because someone's always got to get the hot off the press fucking thing and spoil it for everybody. It's the spoiler fucking error.
Mm-hmm.
No, like that's right there. Like I'm saying just the access to the wrestling fans. Like just like say it was just wrestling forums with what's the word? The wrestling columnists or wrestling dirt sheets, shit like that. Like imagine there was none of that, but you still had the access to every wrestling fan like at your fingertips, and you were able to talk to them about wrestling. Like back then, like it would be fucking absolute insanity.
It really would.
You would have, because I don't know about you and you growing up and how you went to school, but it was basically like you didn't know who all the wrestling fans were. You didn't know, like you kind of kept it. Like I know all of my good friends growing up that were wrestling fans, but outside of that, like I don't know who the wrestling fans were. Like there wasn't like
wrestling fans were closeted. Basically,
absolutely.
It wasn't cool to be a wrestling fan. It's basically
you weren't wearing like. Well, one, you weren't allowed to wear any of the t-shirts at fucking school because they were all like the two shirts you were wearing were either Austin with the middle fingers or DX that said "suck it."
Yes,
that was basically it. Like you weren't allowed to wear them, and you would see like some of the kids would wear the Jenkos, the fucking DX shirt because they didn't care. They didn't care. They were going to get in trouble anyway, and they did, and they were forced to turn it. And you would see them later on with their shirt inside out. That's us going to school. That's me going to school. That's what I remember.
I was at a Catholic school for 8 long years. So I didn't have the option of wearing any kind of wrestling stuff. So, I mean, I never did that. But I made up for lost time when it came to high school. So that was a little different.
Were you wearing wrestling shirts?
Yeah. I had wrestling shirts in high school.
Would people be
I had
wearing?
Yeah. There was probably a good 10, 12 people that I knew in my class that were wrestling fans. Man, one of the guys I graduated with wore the WCW World Heavyweight title under his gown, because we weren't allowed really to do anything like that. We weren't allowed to step out or, make a scene. So he wore it underneath, showed up. We were sitting in the classroom, shows all the guys who are wrestling fans. And he was like, I'm pulling it out when we get to the field. We get up to the track on our football field. We're walking down, and thank God he is M and I am H. So I am sitting in my seat. I get front row. I'm waiting, and they call his name, and he opens up his thing, pulls out the title, flips it over his shoulder, and does basically walking like the Rock all the way down the track. It was hilarious. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And somewhere I have a picture of all the wrestling fans, all the guys with the title, and we're doing the Too Sweet at graduation. I got to find where that picture is.
I'm surprised he had the WCW title and he didn't do the Flair walk all the way around it.
He was a big. Oh, he has the Flair wig. He has the Flair robe. He has everything. Yeah. But he was a big WCW fan though.
He had had a gown, and he could have just fucking put the robe on underneath it. He had such a missed opportunity there. What are they going to do? Not tell him he can't graduate now? True. He could have fucking went full Flair with the title and walked the aisle, styling and profiling. What a missed opportunity. See, he thought outside of the box a little bit, but not enough. Mm-hmm. If you're going to go that level, well, see me, I'm always one that just goes
too far
out.
A little too far.
Is that too far?
For the school size, it would be too far. I would have loved it, but
no. Well, yeah, that's the thing, though. You got to realize this is it. This is your last thing that you're doing for school is walking. So what are they gonna do? Oh no, you can't graduate because you dressed as Ric Flair. But I was cool with a couple of my teachers, so I would have actually had one of them confront me and me put him in the figure 4. I remember for video production, video production I was on screen talent. So as you can imagine how obnoxious I am now, just imagine me with longer hair that curled up and I don't even think I had facial hair back then. So it was just like a afro. So my final project was a fatal 4-way in the wrestling room. And we did the video editing. So I was on screen with the 4 other people. And then we had the dude that taped it was also the video editor. So we each did the entrances. I have to be able to find this video somewhere. So
please, that has to be a show segment. Like that would be fucking amazing. You want to talk about a watch along? We're gonna watch your fatal 4-way from high school. Fucking right.
Not only that, but it had an alternate ending.
We got to find this film. We got it.
I could probably contact my high school, the video production guy.
Oh my God.
He lives right around the corner from my parents, actually.
We have to get a hold of this, and this has to be a watch along because look, you own it. We can watch it.
I own the rights to this. This was my masterpiece. But we did the entrances with the entrance music. All I know is that I had a pair of Zubaz pants, a cut off American Gladiator shirt, and I came out to Owen Hart.
That's what though, that's not as obnoxious as I feel like I would have expected you to be.
Well, I'm also, you got to remember, I also planned last minute, so I had the shirt, I had to borrow the pants, and yeah, I didn't go full on wig and all that shit.
Yeah, I feel like you could have went a lot further with that.
Oh, I could have went a lot further, but it was it only had to be a 5-minute video.
Okay.
So it was a 5-minute match. So there was one kid that we had in there. He was 6'7", 6'8". So we finished him. He came in right away. We did like a triple suplex and triple pin, and he was gone. And then one of my good friends who was was in there, I turned on him and hit him with something and pinned him.
So it was an elimination match. It was an elimination fatal four-way.
So it was down with me and one of the kids on the wrestling team who was in the video production class. So there's this window ledge in the wrestling room that you can climb on top of. So naturally, that was our top rope. So I think I hit him with like a DDT or a power slam. I went real generic with it. I legitimately hopped up the windowsill. I know, I had hops back then. And the original ending is it was a 5-star frog splash for the win. I even did the sell after the frog splash. And the alternate ending was the Shawn Michaels elbow drop.
It's my favorite elbow drops. Yeah, one of my favorite elbow drops.
At the end.
Of course.
That was the alternate ending. And the entrances, we like fucked with like the screen colors and whatnot. So my screen was like pink and shit.
We got to see this video.
Find this.
Yeah, for sure. So you said you had an AEW point.
Yes. So my AEW point, I've started to realize that, you know how we were saying that it's a numbers game, right? And you're trying to get viewers and you're trying to get as many viewers as possible. WWE seems to be sitting around a million, 1.2, 1.3, somewhere around that. But that we know their audience. We're still trying to figure out the audience for AEW. Now, what I think AEW is doing that is different than the WCWs and the TNAs and whatnot, which is actually a smart move, but I don't know if it's sustainable, because I think you have to have a shitload of TV time and it's going to take a monstrous roster to do this. But they had a niche market to begin with, where they captured a demo, quote unquote, a demographic that was pretty much predominantly white from the ages of 20 to 30s something, maybe early 40s, and that was their demo. But with the signings and whatnot, and the rumored, or not the rumor, they're partnering. They got Ring of Honor. They bought Ring of Honor. So there's another niche market, the Ring of Honor fans and whatnot. And now they're starting to partner with DDT Pro. So that's another niche market. So it seems like they're getting like all these niche markets, and that's how they're going to make up their number. Like now, because now you're not just the hardcore wrestling fan. Now you're fans of like different companies and whatnot. See, they're making themselves more diverse, but I don't know if it actually, I can't tell if it hurts or helps. Like
wrestling in general?
No, not wrestling. Because I think it's fine for wrestling. It's competition. I don't know if it hurts or helps them. And I know that's not my problem, nor should I be worried about that. But it was something that I was thinking about today. I was like, because I saw that they're working with DDT. I was like, I get what they're doing. They want all these some people look at it as like, oh, they're just trying to be different. They're trying to be like that hipster type. But I mean, it's a move that no one else really did. They're starting to bring in like other promotions and whatnot because they want their fan base. They did that with TNA or Impact, but their fan base wasn't that strong, and they really didn't see themselves. They really didn't benefit from it. Yeah. And neither did Impact. Neither one really benefited that much from it. Now he bought Ring of Honor, so he owns that, which will help. And now working with DDT Pro, I mean, now you get another market that are going to watch your product. But is it going to be enough? And how long can you sustain that? Because you already have a roster that is bloated as all hell. You got to think about it. Who gets the most time on that show? And what company did they come from? Where did they make their big money at? Where did they become overly well known at? You got to look at who's the bulk of this roster right now. You have Jericho gets TV time every week. You got Adam Cole gets TV time every week, multiple times. CM Punk.
The Bucks.
You got who?
The Bucks.
Well, the Bucks they came from themselves. They came from the indies, and they made their name elsewhere, not in WWE.
Yeah.
So the Bucks getting TV time is actually their own guys getting TV time, which is fine, which is what you want. But I mean, FTR, where did they make their name? They made their name in WWE, NXT in particular, but Red Dragon, Bryan Danielson. You can say what you want, like, oh, they worked the Ring of Honor. They were like huge. Well, when did he get big? When he fucking main evented WrestleMania. When he won 2 matches during that WrestleMania, that's when he was at his peak of his career, of when he was the most well-known.
When he was the most well-known. Yes. Yeah.
I mean, just think about it. The people that get the TV time, like, you're going to bring in DDT Pro and you're going to get a couple fun matches. You got Ring of Honor. So you're going to you're running Supercard of Honor. So this is going to be your first quote unquote AEW owned Ring of Honor pay-per-view. So it's going to look a lot different, I think, because you're going to get a lot of AEW people in there.
But that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I mean, you don't have as much space as you'd like and that's why, what do you get? 1 women's match, 2 women's matches a week. Your tag team division is bloated. You get Malachi Black gets a lot of TV time. Where did he come from? Where was he big? Pac. Buddy Murphy, Buddy Matthews now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's all ex-WWE. And I get it. That's what you do because you got to strike when the iron's hot. But again,
but people like Sonny Kiss, who deserved.
There's like a laundry list of people that are just getting shoved shorter and shorter. Like we said before, I mean, your tag team champions aren't even your most over tag team in your company, not even by a long shot, because of how many tag teams you have in that company. It's tough. Like, and I was looking at something that AEW put out the other day of something stupid. It was like, who's got the best theme song? Like, and they did, because it's March Madness, they did a bracket of theme song. They didn't even have it wasn't even Jurassic Express. It was just Jungle Boy for theme song. Like, and I was like, maybe they did that because they weren't doing tag. No, but they had other tag teams in there. Like, they had the Bucks in there. I'm like, that's a fucking tag team. And you could tell they want Jungle Boy over Luchasaurus.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about earlier. Like, I'm not sure if Luchasaurus's contract ended up coming up. Would he be one of those ones that they re-signed?
I don't think he will be. I think they're fine with re-signing
Jungle Boy. They're already 1 person down because they didn't re-sign Marco Stunt.
It's not a big loss.
No, it's not a big. Well, literally, it's not a big loss.
That's
a quite small one. Yeah, but exactly. I'm saying if Luchasaurus comes up, I'm saying Jungle Boy's the only one that survived that faction. Like, who they deemed their 4 pillars are the only ones that are safe. Because who else are they making into these stars? You got MJF, you got Darby Allin, you got Jungle Boy, you got Sammy Guevara. Who else is safe? They have to be really close. Like that fucking Brandon Cutler dude. He's fucking made.
Yeah.
He's useless.
Yeah, you're right.
He's absolutely useless.
Well, that's like Nakazawa too. He's the same way, you know what I mean, with Omega. Like, it was another one of those things, those hangers on that, don't get me wrong, good thing I'm glad they have a job and they can pay, you know what I mean, and feed their families. Good for them. But as far as
it's who you know.
But as far as the wrestling product and watching the show weekly, it's a wrestling fan to watch. I get it. I get their supplemental talent and they're supposed to be funny and stuff like that. But I don't know. But I would like to see them be good in the ring too.
You got better options with that elsewhere. Like, give me entertainment wise, give me Silver any day of the fucking week for entertainment. And he's fucking great in the ring. And he's probably one of the best hot tags that they have in that company. But I mean, not to be down. Well, let's flip it. And I did see something. Let's not just be down on AEW.
Let's down on WWE.
We'll go up on WWE.
Oh, okay.
For once. I mean, this whole Cody thing is, I mean, and this is me just fucking wanting to watch the world burn over and over again. When it comes to the internet wrestling community, I love watching it burn. I do.
I do too.
And,
I agree.
And Cody signing with WWE, if that means them having a meltdown and Cody gets significant TV time and he's a meaningful storyline, because look, Cody's one of the best guys. And I remember talking. No, you weren't with me. It was with Mike at dinner, talking about Cody. I think Cody is one of the best guys that they had to sell a storyline.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
To sell a storyline, I think you need people like Cody. And Cody might not have been there on the same page as them when it came to doing things, because let's face it, they're not. The way that Cody does things and the way that the Bucks and Omega do things are completely different.
Cody, and it sucks, but Cody belongs at WWE.
Cody's a businessman. He knows what it's like. Here's the thing, like, people hate on that shit now, but when the wrestlers were looking out for each other back in the day, I mean, no one really said anything about it. Like, Hall and Nash chased the dollar.
That's right.
I mean, what's Cody doing? Like,
I saw a stat. I saw a stat today online. Well, not a stat, but a piece of info on Cody that apparently, I don't know how true this is, but if it is true, it's pretty cool for him. Is when he left WWE, he left a $500,000 paycheck from the WWE. 500
like
grand.
Retainer?
500 grand, like for him to resign, and he said no, thank you. And he didn't want to resign. So now he's coming back to the WWE, and the reported number is $3 million. So, like, he went out, bet on himself. You know what I mean? Because he didn't just like move from WWE and instantly AEW started. Like, he did the Indies, he did Ring of Honor, he did New Japan, he did all that.
He's that guy that made that list thing cool, and that's why everyone puts out these lists because
Yeah.
of Cody. Cody put out that list and filled out that list and had those crazy matches with everyone that was on that list. That's why you ask wrestlers today, like, oh, who's on your list? Well, thank you, Cody, for that.
Yeah.
Because Cody put out that list. But no, Cody absolutely made himself more valuable. Not only just with wrestling, I mean, outside of wrestling too. Now he's got 2 TV shows, or he had 2 TV shows, working for a big company. On primetime television.
Yep.
Like, yeah. He's doing a lesser version of what The Miz was doing.
Exactly.
And Cena. Like, he's doing that. He's taking that route.
If he can do it and he gets the right people behind him, he can do it. Good for him.
Well, I mean, if it's true and the rumors are true and he's coming in against Rollins, I mean, what else could you possibly ask for WrestleMania?
I see people complaining about this, and I don't know if they're AEW fans complaining about it or WWE fans who just don't want to like Cody because he was whatever the case may be. It's stupid. But to get a Seth Rollins versus a Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, how could you not want that?
You know the callback. You know the obvious callback. The original fucking Triple H guy.
Yeah.
Against the fucking guy that was never the Triple H guy, but in fucking many ways is very much like fucking Triple H.
Yep.
I mean, have him down there, of course, 100%.
Yep.
If he can. Like, this is just a storyline that's fucking begging to be amazing.
Yeah, I think we're going to get it too.
You could run with that after Mania too. That just sets you up for, I know.
Oh, I don't want it to be this and it. I want this to keep carrying.
I'm saying, like,
take me to SummerSlam.
You can run it. I know the way the WWE would run it into the ground, but I'm saying, like, you can get a good month or 2 out of this.
So I did before we stopped. I did want to touch on the NWA and the Crockett Cup this past weekend, 19th, 20th. Did you happen to watch as much as you could, or do you?
I watched as much as I could, meaning I got night 1.
Okay.
And books. I did not watch what I wanted to watch. I didn't get a chance to, which was the main event between Cardona and Aldis. I saw some clips, but I still don't know how it ended.
Okay.
It looked like Cardona lost, but I don't think that's the case.
I'll let you. I'm not going to say anything, but it was a great 2 nights, and I mean, at least for us to watch the Now on my TV screen come out, get announced by the NWA, hear the Now music, and it was
New
so
gear,
fucking
baby.
cool. It was
Gear.
yeah, everything. It was so cool.
That new gear that they were talking about this whole time, they were just waiting for the NWA. So like, oh man, we got new gear, we just can't wear it yet.
But good for them. They look great. That they look like they belong in the ring with the Briscoes. It was
Jacked and tan, baby.
It was great, and we are so happy for those guys, Vic and Hale. That it was so much fun to watch.
I hope that's not it. Like, I hope I get to see more, because that is like, I need reasons to watch things, and that's definitely a good reason for me to watch more of NWA. For me personally, I know I should anyway, but that just gives me even more of a reason to watch NWA.
Yeah, I agree. But the whole event, Briscoes end up winning the cup, which
I saw that.
I mean, I believe rightfully so. One of the best tag teams in the world, just put in the Ring of Honor Hall of Fame. Like, this
not only
is
that, but they were the most cohesive tag team in that whole tournament. Like, I did watch a lot of it. I'm like, man, you could tell some of the ones that they kind of slapped together that weren't like there wasn't as much fluidity, and there wasn't much chemistry. But the Briscoes got that. They got that down to a T. Fluff.
Okay.
Sticking around.
So I think that'll do it for the Essential Series, with our subject being hardcore matches, or the greatest hardcore matches. Or
you know what didn't make it? I thought you were going to put it on. I thought you were going to do it.
What's that?
Was Angle and Shane McMahon.
And Shane. It was Fringe. I gotta say, that was Fringe. It was right there.
I thought that was going on, because that was on mine. If I would have had 3, that would have probably been in there.
Yeah. If it wasn't for putting AEW on there, that probably
Angle and that would have made it.
I think it would.
The one I was going to say that should have probably been on there is Cactus Jack and Terry Funk in Japan.
Yeah, what the hell's the name of the event? I know the exact match you're talking about too, because I looked at that one as well. But I don't know how many people have actually, because of like it being older in Japan.
I think it's very, very well known throughout the era that we're portraying.
Yeah, it's true.
And if you're going with hardcore match, like, I probably should have put that one on there, to be honest with you. But lo and behold, I did not. But that one probably should have been on there, because you put Mankind in already. I mean, let's face it. When we're thinking hardcore, like Mankind, Cactus Jack, he's up there for one of the top people, and a lot of the other people in ECW.
Yeah.
Like, you snuck into Dudley's, and it wasn't even an ECW match. Well, at least you got him in there.
Yes.
Because there's certain people that you think of when you think of that style.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of them come from ECW.
So this
is it.
What?
This is it.
No, that's not what I was gonna say. Other than this show this week, we will have Brotherly Love on the show. And that sounds weird saying
we're
that.
gonna have ourselves on the show.
So by the way, Joe, I said this to Kyle and about Brotherly Love, and I told him about finding him. And he was like, I saw the picture over the weekend. I saw you guys put it out. And I was like, yeah. He was like, I looked at it and I was like, man, what fucking weird idea did Joe come up with this time? They interview with themselves? I was dying. I was like, I can't wait to tell Joe that you said that.
He thought this was my idea?
That's what he thought, because he was like, what are they interviewing themselves? Like, what kind of idea did Joe come up with this time? But no, it is not us. It is not us interviewing us. There is a local tag team built out of the city, obviously, and their tag team name is Brotherly Love. So I don't know what better show for them to be on than our show, the Brotherly Love Wrestling Show, and try and talk and see. I think they're fairly new.
Yeah, I think
try and talk to them. I know they wrestle for wrestled recently for International Wrestling Cartel. So we'll find out about those guys and see where. I mean, I'm sure it really isn't that hard why their name is Brotherly Love, but
there's going to be so many good references in this one.
Absolutely. A lot of good Philly talk.
Let's just keep this fucking local. This whole conversation.
Absolutely.
Okay. It's going to be fun.
All right. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed the show. Look out.
A lot of people that aren't from this area.
True. But if we have, I don't know, I think a lot of our listeners and viewers are from this area.
You think so?
I think they're local. I think
it's a safe bet.
Yeah. So we hope you enjoyed, and we'll be talking to you very soon.